Hello and welcome to Shout About London, the place where you get to know the people to see and the places to be in this great city of ours. For episode 51, your host will be myself, Stuart Groves, and my learned business partner and staunch London enthusiast, Ben John Gamble.
Loosey goosey.
I wanna wake up night or day with all of the world just minutes away.
Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in. Shout About London is back inside our Brick Lane studio. If you caught us last time, thank you for coming back. If you didn't manage to listen, we had electronic theatre. Ben's going to talk about that in 2 seconds. But first, this new episode is sponsored by
Stardust.
London's first and only immersive winter experience. For the first time, Stardust London have paired unique immersive experiences with commercial talent lineup, which is accompanied by a wealth of street food traders with many major brands supporting their unique creation. With a nostalgic vibe running through the talent and on-trend selection of immersive experiences, there are many well-known brands associated with.
Very good, Stu.
No, associated with Stardust London.
Stardust
We
London.
almost had it. We'll get it next time. Next week we will nail this. I promise you, Lucy Dean. Anyway.
That's good, man.
Thank you, man.
Do you listen to sponsors on other podcasts? Or do you
I
skip
listen
through?
to Joe Rogan do it, but he's just such a pro, isn't he? So, do I skip? No, I
Do you
skip.
skip? Yeah.
Do you want
to keep it under 30 seconds? Because
Yeah.
you skip 30 seconds, don't you?
So I don't skip if it's like a short read like that. I skip if it's like a 4-minute thing. You know, I just like sod this. But yeah, in general, I try and support it because that's why we get our content for free.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, going back to electronic theatre.
Yeah, it was good. We'll find out what the twins thought when they come back on.
That's very good. I'm liking this. I'm enjoying the twins.
So yeah.
Journey
go
London.
with the twins here, really. Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you there completely. But Journey London, I went to. Obviously, Seb came on the podcast not long ago. Seb from Lollipop, and myself and Nick from Drafts went down to Lollipop, to Journey London, in the Chelsea Funhouse, and we had the 4-course meal with cocktails. Have you done it before?
No.
They've got the unicorn. You can stroke the unicorn and the puke champagne.
That's the most hipster
It is so hipster.
thing I can think of.
It's so good though. You go in there and you can choose a series of meals based on a famous area. So like the Silk Road, you could pick. You'd have like food from trade routes all along the route of the Silk Road.
What is the Silk Road? Is it from China to the UK? Oh, I asked the wrong person. Geography.
I do geography, yeah. Like I like history, but geography is terrible for me. Shall I look it up for you? But I didn't have the Silk Road. I think I had like Peruvian food.
You'd have the
like
long
Mexican
road, wouldn't you?
Oh, good shout, mate. Country music reference. Trade routes connected the east to the west. I don't know where it goes from.
Yeah, I think it's from Asia to the UK.
Well, it's definitely, it goes everywhere. Hang on a sec, this is really embarrassing, I don't know this. Connecting
don't
East
want that,
Asia, South Asia, Persia, Arabian Peninsula, East Africa, Southern Europe. That's pretty much what I was going to say, to be honest. There's a book out now in the Silk Road. Should we move on? Anyway, the food was great. The pairing cocktails were brilliant. The staff were great. There's a guy called Abdul, who's from Manchester, who was behind the bar, who was just giving us stick all night because I winded him up. Up on the first floor, they have, I think it's called Journey Black, but it's like this is annoying because I should have researched this, but I think it might be a whiskey bar, it might be a gin bar. Anyway, I didn't drink any of that, I had a lager. But we played table tennis up there, beat Nick 3-2.
Always with the
really
immersive element, aren't you?
Yeah,
You're always
of
looking for the something to do whilst you're drinking.
And then downstairs, they've got a Bletchley, so you'd like have to answer, like break codes, and then that sends a thing to the barman, and then he brings you a cocktail based on the thing you brought. It's fucking
Do you know
great.
what I'm going to do? I've got this really unique concept.
Go on.
It's a bar.
Right.
Where you don't have to do anything
I knew you were going to
apart
say
from
that.
drink.
I knew you were going to say that.
You don't, not even any music. You just sit there and drink. It's basically like this podcast studio.
It's like your living room, innit? It's like your living room on a Monday night.
I'll call it the unimmersive pop-up.
I went there. It was really good. You'd actually love it. I think it's £70 a head for 4-course and cocktails. So it's actually really, really well priced. Then I went to my first ever Cirque du Soleil with Danny. This was a few weeks ago, but since we had the break in the podcast, I thought I'd mention it. You've been there, right?
I've been Cirque du Soleil before.
What did you think of it?
Well, I mean, given who we've got on today, it's...
Let's get in the link.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the gymnastic feats is just ridiculous. Especially, there's always someone who can go into like a tiny glass cube and fold themselves up like an origami. Piece of origami. Origami swan? I don't know. You know what I'm saying.
There were some great bits. I just always think I want the Magic Showman, the Greatest Showman to like start.
No,
I'm not disappointed that it wasn't the Greatest Showman, but it was absolutely brilliant. I wouldn't go like twice a year or anything.
What's really good is when, very rarely, when something goes wrong, and you know something's gone wrong. It's like when I saw The Lion King once, and and one of the costumes just massively failed, and I loved that.
Oh, no.
That just, my face just lit
That's
up.
quite
just
tragic. Like, it's awkward for everyone.
and they had to carry the headset around just to finish the act.
Oh God, horrible. Today, oh no, hang on, just quickly. I wanted to talk about. Shall I do it? I'll do it later. I was going to talk about 1917. I wanted to slate it. You know, because I like adding a little sneaky film review in to like the podcast these days.
Chuck it. We could leave it off this week.
Archie's looking at the time on the camera and saying, nope, wrap it up, the guest is coming in. This week on the episode, we're talking to Roger Frampton. He's a movement coach specialising in functional performance and the creator of the Frampton Method. His revolutionary training techniques place emphasis on conscious movement. I've been doing it. It's brutal. I can't wait to bring it up with him. Anything to add?
I'm just touching my toes right now.
I don't want to know how you're doing that under the table. But I'm impressed. Okay, Roger, come in, my friend. Roger,
All right.
thank you for joining us, man. I feel like I know you.
Yeah, you did. Have I met you before?
No, you haven't, but
All right.
I messaged you on Instagram a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and Ben had a venue in Waterloo, and I was following what you were doing, so I like messaged you saying, if you want to do an event, you can come down here and do it. Massive 1,000 capacity. You missed your boat now. But yeah, it obviously got filtered, or you missed it and thought, sod this guy.
Everything on Instagram goes to an agent. So,
Yeah, I'm sure, man. And we were trying to get you on the podcast, and we finally managed to, so that's good.
All right.
I'm also doing your course.
Are you doing the plan?
I'm doing the 4-month plan.
All right.
And I've never been so 50-50 when a guest walks in, because usually I'm just like, oh, this guy's really sound, I can't wait. But you've been putting me through pain for like a month.
Sorry.
Like severe, it's great. And maybe I'll talk about it in a little bit more detail once you've gone.
Yeah, it'd be good
in
to
the
know
outro.
how you get on, how you getting on with it.
I'm like, well, I'll tell you what, let's talk about you and then talk about what the plan is, and then I'll tell you how I'm getting on with it.
Cool, perfect.
Yeah, cool. So how did you decide, how did you become a movement coach? How did you develop that term, and then go from there really?
All right, cool. How far back?
As far back as you want to go, man. As far back as relevant.
Okay, as relevant. So I modelled for 15 years, and when I was modelling, I did anatomy diploma.
Okay.
So I started off as a personal trainer. I was working at LA Fitness, probably in like 2008, 2010, around there. And then after that, I did a course called Functional Movement. So we learned about like movement patterns of the body that have like different theories to how the body works, or different ideas, which I thought was awesome. And then some of that was more therapy based as well. So if people had like knee injuries or elbow pain, then you could kind of look at that and look at the way the body moves in terms of healing it. Movement therapy, that kind of thing. And then I got into gymnastics, or I walked into a gymnastics centre and realised I was terrible at it.
Okay.
And then that's how the stretching elements came in. So I guess the movement is from a lot of different areas. Firstly, like studying anatomy, then doing movement and therapy, and then bits from gymnastics as well. And I went to yoga for a couple of years, and so I implement some of that. So in the broader term of things, it's movement.
Have you always been able to do that? And for anyone who's not watching the screen, the squat as low as you do, have you always been able to do that, or is this something you did after the gymnastics, or after the yoga, or after your plan, or what?
No, I could never do that. I couldn't even touch my toes. So when I was like 18, 19, I got into bodybuilding, or what every kind of 18-year-old does, goes to the gym, bench press, heavy weights, bicep curls, all of that. I was into all of that. It was all about just getting as big as I could. And when I got into gymnastics, or when I walked into a gymnastics hall, I couldn't touch my toes. I could definitely, if I tried sitting in a squat, I'd just fall over backwards. Like my body, I looked good. I was modelling. I looked physically fit, but in terms of what I could do with my body, I was severely lacking for what they could do in gymnastics.
Okay.
Well, that picture's of a squat, but can't toddlers do that perfectly?
Yeah.
That's the thing that everyone forgets how to do. So you look at a toddler, they've got perfect posture back, and they just do it properly.
So every kid, naturally sits in a squat, no matter where they're from on the planet. You get a kid born in Africa, or Asia, or England, and they all sit in squats. It's quite funny. It's quite a natural thing. Like now, if we look at it, or especially in England, people think if you sat like that in the street, it'd be quite an odd It's like an odd position, right? Or it's like, or an embarrassing position. People say you look like you're having a shit. Or, I mean,
that is the best way to shit, isn't it? It's the most hygienic way.
But I mean, in countries in the world, other countries, people will go and have a shit by the river like that in India or whatever, right? In certain areas, they will.
Ben could talk about this all day. He's literally.
Well, I'm quite interested. I'm actually quite interested. So even the toilet seat is at 90 degrees, and actually the best angle is 30 degrees, isn't it?
I thought it was 90 degrees with your feet on a stool, wasn't it?
And you'd spend less time on it if it was 30 degrees.
Well, the theory is that apparently when you're in this position, that the muscle that stops you from shitting throughout the day relaxes, and then everything falls out. And so a lot of things like a lot of problems that people get in terms of like the rectum and piles and all of that comes from people straining and pushing out, trying to have a shit when the body's not ready to. Whereas if you sit like that in a squat, then everything should just drop out naturally.
That's a great little segment to promote the podcast.
It took us 50
I don't
episodes
know
to get to that.
how you guys deal with talking about swearing.
We need to like. Swearing's good.
Fine.
We do swearing. It's just the longest we've talked about shit for a long time. But
yeah,
it's,
but I mean, it's one of those topics, and it's the squat's just a funny one because it's like whenever I post about a squat or talk about the squat, it always brings up a different topic or different points. People love it on Instagram. A picture of like me squatting.
I think the thing is as well is it's not easy. Like I can't do that at all. I can't even get close, man. And what I was doing before is I was doing that thing where you sit in your room and you do it for a minute and it burns the fuck out of your knees. And then you get up and then the next day you do it again. Next day you do it again. 4 or 5 days in, you sack it off for a couple of weeks. And then you see someone else in the gym, like, fuck it, I'm going to get back on that. And that's why I liked your plan, because your plan broke down separate stretches that eventually get you to that squat, which I found super interesting. But we'll come back onto that in a minute.
Okay.
So how did you get from the movement, enjoying movement, into the kind of the business side and setting up the plan and all that sort of stuff?
I guess the plan's quite recent. The plan, it came out, I think, I think the plan came out early last year. So it was early. Here you go. How's that?
That's good.
Yeah, so I think the plan came out early 2019. So the plan is quite a recent thing.
Yeah.
The book was before that. So the book was 2017.
Yeah.
But I guess all this really kicked off was the TED Talk. So I did a TED Talk.
Yeah.
From that, I got offered a publisher contacted me to do a book. And then from doing the book, people were like, can you do a plan? So I guess everything has just evolved from what's needed, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our like podcast centres around kind of events and things happening in London. So I know you do workshops, which you had one this month, did you? Or?
Yeah, every 2 weeks we're at the W Hotel.
Oh,
in
sweet!
London.
I'm gonna come to one, man.
Yeah, please come
For
down.
sure. I thought I'd missed the slot actually because it said on your website, and I thought I'd missed it.
No, they get put up every 2 weeks. It used to be twice a month. Now I've got them to doing it because it took me ages to convince the hotel because they thought it was going to be like a workout and sweaty, and it was in basically an office space. And I was like, no, it's stretching. It's really chilled, kind of chilled. I mean, there's intense exercises.
And what are the hotel doing? Are they putting on drinks and food, or are you just going in and using the space?
Yeah. We have food and drinks after, and there's also there's a candy brunch after, which has unlimited prosecco and sweets. I mean, if you want to do that, that's separate. But yeah. But if you want to do that straight after a 2-hour stretch session, you're more welcome to.
Sorry, hang on. 2-hour stretch session.
It's 2 hours.
I just tuned in on
mate,
that.
That's wait till you get to the plan, mate. It's fucking.
We went to
so brutal.
We went to hot pod yoga last week with our team.
Yeah.
That was the most brutal thing I've done in a long time.
In fairness, that was the hardest yoga. I don't do much yoga. I've started doing it.
Okay.
That was the hardest yoga session I've ever done, irrespective of the heat. Like there was like 50 vinyasas or whatever for the first half, which was there's never usually that many.
How long was it? The class?
It was an hour and 15. Was it, Archie? Hour and a half. It was long, and it was like. And it was, and all of us were pretty beginner level. Like Ellie's done it for years, but everyone else was like bang on beginner level, and they weren't. Yeah.
What was it 37 degrees?
I don't know. It was too hot.
37 degrees centigrade.
That's pretty hot.
It was like oil in the eyes, hot. Like it was really hot, but it was good. It was really good fun. So I saw you first at Advertising Week. So we work with Advertising Week. We do a lot of stuff with them. So we go there every year, and I saw you talk there, and you were talking about how you can sit in the office and stretch while you're sitting down and all that sort of stuff.
Right, okay,
And
yeah.
when was that in the timeline? Because that would have been like 2017 maybe?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Was that before the TED Talk or?
No, TED Talk was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another client we work with a lot, helping them with the venues and manage the events is London Real.
Yeah.
And I know I saw you on there as
So
well. I
that
think.
came just before the
I've been proper stalking you. When a guest comes in here, I literally don't know anything.
No, it's good. It's awesome. No, Brian. I met Brian training in a park.
Okay.
So Brian, who
was he
owns-
walking around
who
with a camera
owns-
in front of him doing
Yeah,
self-interview?
he was just exercising in the corner, and I'd seen London Real.
Yeah.
Because I'd watched Kelly Starrett, which is
Okay.
like a movement guy.
Yeah, I've heard him mention
Really,
him. Yeah,
really, really cool. I really like his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Joe Rogan mentions him. He's been on Joe Rogan as well.
he's awesome. You should get his book. Even his theory at the beginning, it's just he talks about kids a lot, and it's just really cool. I can't remember the name of his book, but pass it on. Yeah, Kelly Starrett. And and then I was like, Brian used to introduce his first, and then I saw Brian in Primrose Hill. So I trained down Primrose Hill a lot in the summer, outdoor park.
Yeah.
And I saw him training in the corner. So I was like, I've got to go and say hello before I leave because I watch his stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And then end up chatting to him, and I was like, what are you working on? He said, I'm working on doing a muscle up. So I was like, I can help you do that. So we ended up training together. And then through training together, he said, you should do a TED Talk. And that's how the TED Talk idea came.
Nice.
So it was almost London Real kind of put that idea into my head, yeah.
And how long did it take and how long was the TED Talk, an hour?
The TED Talk is 20 minutes.
Okay.
It can't be any longer than 20
Right.
minutes. It's about like getting your idea. So the idea for this was why sitting down destroys you. That was the name of the TED Talk.
Yeah,
So it was like I had to say within 20 minutes why I had this idea and what was my thought process around it.
Nice. You're into TED Talks, aren't you? You should have asked that question. I wouldn't look stupid by saying an hour.
That's
all right.
You didn't get everyone in the audience to stand up and touch your toes.
We did an advertising week. We did have to stand up at one point, I think.
There was definitely some audience participation.
Yeah. It's got to be, really.
Yeah, I got people to stand up and push their heels together. Because basically when you push your heels together, your butt engages.
Why is it bad to sit down? I mean, would you be an advocate for those desks which can elevate up so you can stand at your desk?
I mean, I'm a stockbroker, 9 to 5. So I just finished work an hour ago. So I sit down all day long. It's just the only difference is I spend an hour every night undoing it. So I don't think sitting down's bad. I just think if you're going to sit down all day, you can't sit down all day and not do anything to undo it. If you sit down all day and then stretch to undo it, you'll be fine. If you sit down all day and don't do anything, then there are potential or a lot of problems that will come from it.
So let's talk about this plan. So I signed up for this plan. It's 4 months, every other day. It's like an hour a day. You put on there like 46 minutes, but you don't allow like a minute rest in between. I'm assuming you're allowed a rest.
No, on to the next.
So you do, you do like 2 minutes on one leg. So I'll do it for the camera. You stand like that. Just don't look at my posture. So you stand like that. For the people at home, I'm leaning over my left leg, bending my left knee. Am I?
Yeah. So I guess what's the best way to describe it? You're standing on one leg, and the goal is to try and get your back knee as close as you can to the floor.
Right. So the first minute, absolutely fine. Second minute, you wish away every second.
Yeah, burns.
And you do it for 2 minutes, and then you stop. Then you do the other leg, 2 minutes, and then you do it 3 times. So by the end, you're like wobbling. But like you say, you don't want to go to pain. You just want to go to the point where it's like, you can feel the stretch.
And you'll definitely build up. Build up to it. It's 4-month plan. So you're kind of building up. So
it's just going to get harder, is what you're saying.
Like
the stretch is going to get harder, but it should get easier.
Well, it depends. If you're following it along, everything will kind of work. But if you start like skipping days at the beginning,
of course,
then you're suddenly going to be like, oh, I'm actually supposed to be at this on this exercise now, and I'm not. But always building up to it. But because if you get the plan, you can have it for life. So when you finish it, technically, you can just start again if you missed any bit or whatever.
Because I've always traditionally stretched for like 7 seconds per stretch or whatever.
Okay, after.
Yeah.
Like just after training.
So I'll do MMA and Jiu-Jitsu. Haven't mentioned it in the last episodes, so there you go. Nice. So I do MMA and Jiu-Jitsu, and I'll stretch for like 10 minutes maybe, but then it'll be like 30 seconds max per stretch.
Okay.
So would you be an advocate every time for 2 minutes?
Between 90 seconds and 3 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
wow.
mean, in yin yoga, they do 8-minute stretches, 5 to 8 minute
Yeah, I'll
stretches.
avoid yin at the moment.
But the thing is the longer the stretch, the lower the intensity.
Okay.
So basically, if saying a stretch, for example, is like a number 9 intensity on a 1 to 10, it's like so intense. I'd either back off the intensity or I'd shorten the time.
Yeah. Okay.
So you wouldn't, because that's ridiculous.
And why are the 4 things? So the point of the plan, Ben, is so you can do a squat, so you can touch your toes, which is basically my main goal, touch my toes.
Open shoulders.
Second? No, hands behind you,
open shoulders.
connecting your hands
That's the one
behind
I
your shoulders,
can't
which is, I mean, that's a fucking joke. Look at that. And then that's just not happening. And then the front splits, which you're not going to do in 4 months, are you? But you're going to get closer.
Exactly. It's like a front split progression. The idea behind the front split is basically you're opening your hip flexors and your quads.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically that they're movement goals. So everything's like a physical goal that you're working towards. So instead of when people come to me, they're like, I'm trying to get flexible, and I'm like, well, how are you going to know if you get more flexible? So for example. So you're working towards specific things.
Yeah.
Because that's how gymnastics works. You go, I can either do it or I can't, and if I can't, then I've got to work towards it.
Have you watched Cheer?
Huh?
Cheer. Have you watched Cheer? It's on Netflix. It's about cheerleaders, but it's brutal.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah.
It's so good.
There was
you
an
like that
episode
thing?
on the other night. I've seen it.
I've seen one episode.
But I saw one where they dropped a girl.
Yeah.
And she like broke her elbow.
They're all getting injured every 5 seconds. It's absolutely mental. It's a really good show, actually.
Yeah, that's insane.
You'd like that. Yeah, cool. So, what on your journey of building this business, what's been the biggest success, do you think?
Of that?
And it can be the plan, it can be the events that you do, it can be the book.
I guess the whole thing really, because everything came from just what people wanted. So like, I didn't really have a plan from the beginning to do any of this. I didn't have a plan to write a book. I didn't really have a plan to do a TED Talk. So everything, like the reason I did a TED Talk was it was an idea from someone I met in the park. The reason I wrote a book is because a publisher contacted me and said, oh, you should put in writing what you said in your talk. The idea behind the plan was people following the book, and they were like, it'd be nice to have a plan. Yeah. So everything is just a reaction to what everyone's been asking for. What
type of people do you think would do the plan? Because
they're not fat people.
I think because I was saying
what?
Hang on a second.
Hang on a minute.
I'm looking at myself here. There's got to be a certain level of fitness.
You just lost like 3/4 of your subscribers there.
Right. It doesn't really matter because none of the goals matter of what you look like. Like none of this is physical. There's no physical. I'm going to look like this. It's like you can touch your toes whether you're 30 stone or 4. It doesn't matter. The goal is I want to touch my toes. So I really try to take everything away from the aesthetic of.
But what
you look like.
I was saying to the Wade twins, who you know, I believe, I was saying to them before, like, I think because they're quite fit.
So to who?
The Wade twins.
Right. Okay.
So I was saying to them, So I was saying that. Because they're quite fitness heavy as well. They love their fitness.
Okay.
For me, like, you've got to be quite mentally tough to do this plan. Like, you've got to really want it. Like, because it is hard. It's not like it's not a piece of piss. I don't know what I was expecting it was going to be, but it's actually really tough. And you've got to really allow it every other day. You've got to commit an hour to it, or 45 minutes, 50 minutes if you don't allow yourself a break. And you've got to go to an area which is actually quite stressful. It's like working. It's basically a workout. It's going to the gym for an hour. It's not what you think. It's like the wind down at the end. It's actually the gym session. Basically.
When I say to people I do stretching, right? People have this idea that it's like quite easy,
meditation
or it's
music in the
something that
background.
you do at the end of the workout. People come to the workshop and they're just like come up to me after. They were like, "That was so intense. That was horrific." And they were just like, "I can't believe that's stretching." And I was just like, "Yeah, well, this is what we do. It's a workout." I don't really do any other workout. This is what I do. I do gymnastics, strength training, and flexibility work.
Do you know Ido Portal? Have you heard of him?
May have done. May have heard of that.
You must know him. I went to his. It was through London Real actually. I went to his the launch of his film. I'm obsessed with the UFC, and he obviously was Conor McGregor's movement coach. Yeah. What do you think of him? Out of interest.
He's cool. I like it. I think if you can do all of my stuff, you should go and see him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because basically he teaches movement, but it's such a level that if I kind of cater for you're the person who sat in the office all day.
You're like shifting
has a
consciousness
kid
to...
and wants to go home, and the book is 10 minutes a day. Just like, I can't touch my toes. I've got 2 kids running around, and I just need to do something so I don't get back pain.
I should have started with the book.
Yeah. So the book is that, right?
Yeah,
the plan is like, right, I actually really want to do something, and I want to put a couple of hours a week into it.
Yeah.
But get the plan.
Yeah.
But Edo's for someone who wants to quit their job and
just be a movement coach.
Yeah. Like, everyone who's seen his stuff is phenomenal. It's amazing to see what someone can do with their body.
Yeah.
But if you can't touch your toes and you try and do what he calls movement, like, you're not even going to start. The basis of gymnastics is flexibility. If you don't have that base of flexibility, your movement is compromised. It's almost impossible to do the stuff, that is his kind of basics.
Yeah,
but I think what he's doing is amazing, and it'd be incredible if everyone just quit their jobs and went around. I mean, we'd all be freaking injury free, but it's just So I guess I cater more to just more the everyday person is what I'm whenever I'm writing or making these plans. It's always what can the everyday person do. They're always scaled down a lot, especially from gymnastics as well.
What would your 5 tips be for someone sitting down all day? What would be like the 5 tips for?
Sit down.
3 doesn't be 5.
Sit down, do your work, and when you go home, train. Like,
that's good. I like that. So you're not expecting roly-polies at lunch or anything?
No, when I sit down, I've got a job to do. I'm not here to stretch. I'm at work to work. So
it's important to get up every an hour and have a walk around and shake it off a little bit.
The old Apple Watch telling you to stand up every hour. I used to like that when it worked.
I don't know. I think of like what's going to be more effective to my body on a long term. Getting up every 5 minutes and walking around, and then not really doing any training. Or like tonight, I'll finish this, I'll go home, and I'll be doing like an hour of stretching. And then for that hour, my phone's off. There's no.
You don't watch TV?
No, I watch TV.
Oh.
Maybe after. But I'll give myself a solid hour. So you asked earlier, is there any breaks in between the stretches? No, of course not. Because that is just dedication. That's like that hour or 45 minutes.
But what if...
is without distraction.
So I get it if there's like one on your left leg, one on your right leg, right? Because it's 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Obviously no break.
Yeah.
But if it's the one where it's both legs, surely there's a fucking minute gap between the 2 minutes. Otherwise you're going 6 minutes.
Yeah, but the idea is you build
I'm not
up.
having that.
Yeah, you're still trying to get out of it. No,
So
but you
what-
build up to it. So just say...
So essentially you're doing 6 minutes.
Just
right?
say if you just say you do one for 30 seconds.
It's so good getting him in here so I can just have a go in base course.
Is this all this is about?
Yes, it's like get him in.
I need to talk to this guy. Like,
Sorry, go on.
but you'll build up the time. I kind of want you to fail at the first exercises.
Yeah.
So then you're like, oh, actually, I kind of
In that
need,
case, I'm a
I need
success.
more work. And obviously, I'm giving the exercises out to such a broad range of people.
Yeah, true.
That it's just like everyone's at all different levels. I get people that are doing the plan that can touch their toes but can't, don't have any shoulder flexibility, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So
But
it's just,
this isn't about me, and I know it's not a private. I'm not like giving pray for a private lesson here.
Okay.
But before you leave, you have to show me the one where you got your leg out and you're squatting with your one leg out.
Yeah, pistol
I
squat.
cannot do it.
Okay.
I could not do it. And I was like, if I can't do it, there was no like backup. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So I just did the other one again.
right, okay, yeah,
So
of course.
depressing.
I should.
Literally
so
can't
it's
do it.
holding a pistol squat on the floor. Yeah.
Cannot.
It's a really good. It's actually, now you bring up, it's a really good test for that.
Okay.
Because
it said that on
if
the
you
thing,
can't do that, basically we're talking about a one-legged squat or a pistol squat, but holding the bottom position. But if you raise your heel up on something, it will be easier. So if you've got a thicker heel trainer.
What we'll do when we finish the interview, we'll do an outtake, and me and you will try it on the camera. See you can do
Test
it.
it. You look
we did
super excited right now.
The other week we did the cereal box game. I'm going to call it.
Yeah,
Where you put the
yeah.
cereal box on the floor, and then you try and pick it up with your mouth without using.
You must know.
your
And
hands.
then,
Magic arm.
then you take a
Yeah.
layer off. Well, I didn't pick it up. Neither of us picked it up.
I
Yeah.
picked it up.
Did you?
Yeah, first time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
Did he? Were you there? You were there for that, weren't you?
Archie,
No.
Horrible. Okay, right. Sorry, getting distracted. Power of Now.
Yeah,
That's one of your homeworks.
it is. Yeah. Do you like it?
I've got a tattoo on the back of my leg, which is the pause and reflect button.
Right, okay.
Pause and reflect symbol from that book. So I love it. And,
Amazing.
We went to Thailand to train in December. Did I mention I did jiu-jitsu? Have I mentioned? I don't know if I mentioned that. And 3 of us got the tattoo because we're really sad like that. But yeah, I love it. So luckily I'm ahead with the homework. Right, so slight technical glitch there. I think that was you, because every time I mentioned jiu-jitsu, everything just shuts down. We were talking about the power of now. We actually did have a little break where Roger showed us how to do the pistol squat. Ben did it better than me, and it'll be on Instagram probably before this show goes out. But anyway, power of now, just quickly, before it shuts down again. Why did you make that part of the homework for the stretching plan, out of interest?
I've probably listened to that book. As I listened, I've probably listened and read that book about 50 times. I used to just listen to it instead. You know how you just listen to music when you're going around. I used to just listen to it. I just think, like when you're stretching, you're so basically. I think the two work together so well. But like whenever I'm training, like the voice of what he talks about in the book just disappears whenever you're focused on your body. Yeah. Because the sensation when you're stretching is so intense. It basically takes over from, any thoughts that you have going on. So for me, it just gets me out of my head completely. No matter like if I could be in like the worst mood and then just go and have a good stretch, and then it's just everything in my head just disappears. It just becomes all about my body. And he even says in the book, a really good way to get out of your head. I mean, there's loads of different ways to do it, but a really good way is to focus on the body, all the movement of the body, or the feeling within the body. And for me, when I'm stretching, I always talk about how does that feel for you? How does that stretch feel? Like the feeling, it always outweighs everything. Outweighs the position of the stretch.
I think that's why people do these high intensity things like jumping out of planes, like fight sports, or surfing, because you have to be in the moment. Because if you're not in the moment, you're in trouble. So I was ill for the last couple of weeks actually, and I got back to the gym on Friday. And we had our launch and we had a lot of stuff going on. And I said to my friend, actually, that's the first time in 2 weeks I haven't thought about work, was that hour just being on the mat. And it just releases so much in you to get back and carry on with life, doesn't it? When you're like into that. Have you read The Untethered Soul?
No.
I for me, it's like the sequel to The Power of Now. I feel like after you've read The Power of Now, you should read The Untethered Soul. And it just basically expands on very much the same thoughts, but just takes it to a whole nother level, really focusing on like the thought, the voice that watches the thoughts in your head. It's just insane, man.
I mean, it's such a powerful idea. It's just like there is a voice that watches, that basically there is, I remember when I read the first chapter of it, it was just literally like my mind was just freaking blown. I was just like, when you're thinking, you can watch yourself thinking. And it's just like, just that idea. I was like, oh yeah, I never even thought of that. And as soon as you do that, you stop thinking. And it's
meditation's good for that as well, like controlling those, not controlling, but seeing when those negative thoughts come up and stopping them early and realising that it's not you, that's just a thought. It's super important. Going back to the events, just because that's what we're here for. So it's at the W Hotel, it's every 2 weeks?
Yeah, so we're now every other week at the W Hotel in a office space upstairs.
Yeah. How much does it cost and what times?
It's £30 for a 2-hour workshop. So, and as we were speaking about the timings earlier, the reason is 2 hours. It's not just 2 hours of stretching. There's a lot of explaining. Okay. There's only 15 people. We keep the number quite small so I can walk around, make sure everyone knows what they're doing. So I don't, you know how classes, some people just stand at the front. It's very interactive. Okay. It's very like explanations, demonstrations, just because there's so much to get through. So usually we do for the first hour, we start on feet, ankles, toes, all the stuff that people don't usually stretch. Which some of the stretches, as you know, are horrific, right? When you're sitting on your toes, it's like you realise, I've never stretched my toes before.
One that's called toe breaker or something.
Yeah, exactly, broken toe. They call it in yoga, but we do single leg broken toe, which is like a new one. Come down, experience it.
Can't wait.
And then basically hips, legs, just loads of different angles of stretching. And then sometimes I partner people up. Sometimes we play games, as in like shoulder stretching games, or where you superglue your imaginary superglue your hand to the floor. Again, which gets people just moving more creatively.
Wow.
And just moving around their hand, which gets you to move in your shoulders in positions which you wouldn't normally do. And then second half we go more into some handstand work. Hand balancing exercises, handstands, headstands, but more kind of just showing people the very basics of it, where you place your hands, how you spread your fingers, what part of the hand the weight's on. So really it's more like, really just describing how like the detail of the positions, as opposed to just let's kick up into a handstand. Yeah. So even though I'm talking about handstands, people at first are like, oh, you know, it sounds a bit scary. I've never done a handstand before. We only do handstands against the wall, facing the wall. Like we never just kick up and hope. Yeah. Everything is about technique. Everything's from gymnastics.
Wicked. So what we're doing now is every time we have someone on, we're sending the twins to the experience. You know the twins, obviously. Yeah. So they'll come down, they'll vlog about it, and they'll share it and see how well they do.
All right, awesome.
I might try and tag along that one just because I need it so badly.
Yeah, come down. We usually we have 5 spaces each week where we have like different journalists and press, influencers. I've had loads of different. We had the Evening Standard come down a few weeks ago, and they experienced it and wrote about it.
Amazing,
cool.
Yeah. Just going over your social media, I've got Roger Frampton on Instagram. That's Frampton with a P. Facebook, Roger Frampton Official. Website, roger.coach. Is there any others I've missed?
No, I think that's it. That's the ones I use anyway.
Wicked, man. And is there anything else you want to get off your chest or announce before we wrap up?
There might be an app.
There might be an app?
Yeah. But basically we've been working on it for 2.5 years, and it keeps kind of coming to fruition and then not.
Okay.
So basically, for anything going on, for any events or anything, if people, you can register for free at roger.coach, and you also get a free video series giving you 3 or 4 different exercises.
Wicked.
And videos to work on.
Awesome,
on the website. Yeah.
Well, pleasure meeting you, and I'll definitely see you again.
Cool. Thanks for having me on, man.
Cheers, man. So, Benjamin, Roger Frampton, well done for beating me on the pistol squat.
So I've beaten you on every sort of flexibility exercise we've ever done together.
That's not difficult. I can't even touch my knees.
I know, but you're doing the course, so...
I am. 4 months' time, mate. I'll be doing roly-polies to work. I thought it was great, yeah. And that's the most I've known about a guest. You're impressed?
Well, it's because you were a true passion. A little bit of a fanboy.
A little bit,
I mean,
yeah.
you
I
started
with how I was sitting. I didn't have to sit.
The first thing you said was, I tried to message you on Instagram, but you didn't get back to me.
He buoyed me off, and then everyone went silent for about a minute and a half.
and then he had to lie and said, oh, yeah, someone else deals with that.
Yeah.
It was quite cute, mate. Well done.
Thank you. I think because we've slightly overrun, we should get the boys back. Boys are back in town. Too close. Am I too close? That's Klaus's hand, everybody. Thank you. Oh, hang on. There we go. Joe Rogan doesn't get this sort of treatment. The Wade twins coming up shortly. Let's bring them on. Boys, welcome back again.
Again. Thanks for having us back, guys. It's been a whole, 3 minutes?
Take 54. Guys, weekly shout.
Yeah.
Tell us, what's coming up in London this week?
Yeah, so we have an exciting couple of weeks ahead of us in London.
Yeah.
There's a few events which massively stick out to Henry and I.
Okay.
First up is one called the Murder Express.
Yes, tell us all about it.
I've killed a few people in the last week, so I've put their bodies on a train, and we're going to find out someone who,
is that follicular again?
It is.
Yeah, we talked about them last week. So the guys that for the cocktail time machine, that's their.
Is it?
So we actually
I didn't actually know it was the same thing, run by the same guys. But
so they
run some good events. They do some good stuff.
They're brilliant. Yeah, you've been to that, I think.
They do stuff.
Yeah. I was the doctor.
Okay.
No spoilers, but I was the doctor.
No spoilers.
Were you an actor?
Yes. I had one line to.
Did you?
How did it go?
Because they whispered into my ear.
A whole one line. What was the line? Do you remember the line? Can you give us the line?
No, because that gives
it away.
Okay.
So they also do Journey to the Underworld at Pedley Street Station. I went to that and it was absolutely amazing. So
it sounds good.
Spot.
Four course menu from MasterChef 2017 finalist Louise Ellis. And it's only 58 quid, which is actually pretty damn good for 4 courses. And you get the whole experience as well, which I think will be pretty fun. And I like those things in London. So it's good. But also another one, Urban Missions Bomb Disposal. Basically, if you've ever done those, what is it, Takeshi's Castle, where you have to go around trying to figure out, use your brain to unlock things to get to the next level. This is kind of the same thing. So something like that would be really fun as well.
Takeshi's Castle is the best thing to watch if you're hungover.
Is it?
Yeah.
I used to watch it before I went to school in the morning. I swear.
It sounds quite anxiety-inducing, to be honest.
It's only therapy.
For me, I can't use my brain for this. No, it's Takeshi's Castle, and there's also the maze one. The maze. What's the maze one? Do you remember the maze?
Crystal
one?
Maze.
Crystal Maze. Yeah. So these kind of things, I think that's I was related more to Crystal Maze. Oh yeah, sorry. Wait, which one was Takeshi's Castle?
It's an obstacle course.
I'm sorry.
Kesh's car has
God,
nothing
okay,
to do
I'm
with
talking about. Sorry, yeah, there isn't. You're so right. I was thinking of the Crystal Maze.
Running around getting blue in the face with big pillars and stuff.
Are you sure? Well, I need to research this. But okay, so what I meant was the Crystal Maze.
Crystal Maze.
So basically, when people go to like, they get locked in rooms, you have to like unlock a code to go in. But this actually seems pretty cool. 15 quid in Waterloo, and you get to basically immerse yourself in these experiences. Yeah. And they're good fun because they're like team building. But also, if you're going with like your girlfriend, you're probably going to come out single because you're both going to be wrong. And one of you's going to be wrong. One of you's going to be right. So arguing. So don't go there with your girlfriends.
Things like even at the Motor Express as well, they're good things to go, even if it's after work. Like they're not that expensive and they're different. Don't go to the same bars, but have a couple of beers. Go to some events which you can actually enjoy and it's something to talk about as well.
Yeah, just about
I think that's the main thing in London. You know what? We get invited to all these events, or we get to the opportunity to go to some of these events. I know some of them might look a bit expensive, but it's better than going down to your local booze you've been down to probably 3 times that week.
And you'll probably buy that's 3 gin and tonics anyway.
But just
Double,
something to do.
30 quid.
Having something to do is so important, particularly like you were saying, alluding to your girlfriend. Or if you're on a date, it's very nice to have something to do where you don't have to worry about the flow of conversation.
Oh,
so doing something like this.
Do you know what? When I went to this event, which was very similar to kind of these ones, but I went with my mate Tom, and we went as like just mates, and everyone else was in couples or first dates, and they were all said, "Well, asking, how do you know each other? Like, what's our first date?" We're like, "Oh, because you get to talk to people on it." It was quite a fun experience, and they were like, "It's the best first date you can have because you're doing something, so the conversation never gets dry, and it was just a fun thing to do." So these kind of things actually.
Yes, if you're a guy and you're about to take out a girl on a date, go to one of these events.
One thing I will say though,
you probably get a second date.
If you ever go to drafts on a South Bank on a Saturday night, you look into the corner, you'll see Stuart Groves on consecutive dates.
Oh, it's just about a minute. He cut in before I go there every week on a date. I've been single for like 11 years.
Where's this part? Where's this place?
So Drafts, the board game cafe in Waterloo. In fact, it's where this starts.
Board game cafe.
Yeah, and he's got one in Haggerston as well.
Do they have Scrabble?
They have 800 games in Waterloo and I think 1,000 in Dalston. So they've got every game you'd have ever heard of.
How big is it? The bar good? Big?
In Dalston, I think they can do about 250.
So what do you do? Do you go in there to have drinks and play Scrabble and stuff like that?
You go in there, you pay £5. Shout out to Nick. You get £5 a head. You get 4 hours of gaming, I think. You can pick any game, and then it's just a normal bar. It's so good.
So do you go there during the day or do you go there at night?
I go there. You know, you've seen Goodfellas?
Yes.
You know when he comes out and goes through, Ray Liotta goes through the back of the kitchen into the restaurant. They whip out a table for him because it's booked. I text Nick about 10 to 5 on Friday night.
Wait, who's
just
Nick?
that gift. Nick, owns Drafts.
Oh, sweet. So we'll get his contact afterwards. Is that right?
Yeah, so I text him a gift just of them setting up a table, and he's like, "All right, I'll put you one in the corner." Like every week, it's so good.
Sweet. So if we want to come on Friday, I'll kick you off your table and I'll just go there with my missus.
Yeah, I'll introduce him.
We love board games.
When you go out, do you go out together all the time?
Depends. We have a massive group of friends, and whether I didn't say massive, I say we know. I like to be a bit cocky, but we know a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
large network.
We have a large network of people we know. So we don't go out with the same people every week, but we also Henry and I both know the same people. So if I'll be like, mate, we're going out tonight, should we go here? He'll be like, yeah, let's go. And if we go to a certain bar, we'll probably see a bunch of people there. We'll then go to another bar, we'll see a different group of people there. I think with Henry and I, we like to have a good network. But not saying they're all our best friends, but we like to know people, and that's a good thing, I think. But I think we obviously keep our main group quite small.
But it's also like my partner, she has a group of friends, and I'm sometimes close to their friends, whereas there's probably a bit pointless to Will to get involved with them. So it doesn't always. Whereas same as Will, like he's got a girlfriend, and it's probably a bit pointless for me to we spent first time probably in a few years that we haven't spent a year together because I went with my missus, he went with her friends, so things like that. So it's good to sometimes branch out a little bit because you need your own space. You can't be tied at the hip all the time. Like we shared a baby's cot for a while, which is annoying. And work, and work, exactly. So you got to have your space and you got to find those boundaries because it's healthy. Otherwise, you just get into this ruts and bicker all the time. But
our closest set of friends and stuff is just between us lot, and it's about 10 of us, and we're very, very close.
Obviously, as you get older, your knit gets a little bit smaller, doesn't it? But you always have your networks and contacts when you need them because you both help them. They help you if you help them. Do you know what I mean? So that's the good thing about relationships and business.
And that's it, I think. Unless you've got anything else to say?
No.
So we'll see you next week.
We'll catch you on the next week.
We want to hear what you've been doing in the last couple of weeks when you come back next week.
And we want people on the show to tell us if they've been to any of these things we've told them about.
Yes, that's a good shout. We'll interact with the audience. Make a note of that, Dean.
So if you're watching and you've been to any of these events, or you want to go to some of them and you experience them, let us know.
Awesome. Thanks for coming in, boys.
Thank you so much, guys. See you on the next one. Soon. Peace.
That was fabulous, Benjamin. It's been a long, long day. We've just recorded 2 episodes in a row.
Well, you know, last week I was saying how I felt intimidated by the twins.
Yeah.
Because they just look so successful, and and then you bring in Roger,
Yes,
ex-model,
fucking hell, yeah.
athlete. I mean, what are you trying to do to me? Stockbroker as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I might just put pictures of him up.
Stretches for an hour and a half every night.
I might
mean,
use
mental.
pictures of him on my social dating
Yeah,
sites.
yeah,
just
okay,
try and get some
Cupid.
matches. But no, fascinating guy. I was actually genuinely, I was
were
turned around
engaged.
by the end. I know, at the start I was like, oh, what's this? But by the end, at least I'm honest.
Yeah.
But by the end I was like, he's on something.
I saw him at Advertising Week, and I was like it's very much the same. I'm always a bit sceptical with any time I see anyone speak that isn't me. And he totally won me around. And everyone eating out of the palm of his hand at the end of that, because I think we all are a little bit too tense and a little bit too, everyone could be doing a bit.
Did
more
you find
flexible.
yourself making sure that your posture was as good as possible?
I felt really.
I definitely shifted around.
The first 5 minutes, I felt quite awkward about how I was sitting, because I was like sitting with your coach. Do you know what I mean? Just like,
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
thanks.
great. Are we going to go to? We can go.
1,000,000% we're going to go, yeah. We're definitely. So that means yes. 1,000,000% means yes, I think. What do you
Okay.
think? And we're going to send the twins as well. So thanks to the Wade twins, as always. Thanks to Stardust London, of course, for sponsoring the show. Klaus, our man in control. Go and do it. There, he's opening a beer at the end of the show, literally. 30 seconds to go. Thanks to Archie for helping us out again. You can get us on info@shoutout.com. The cleaning ladies hoovering around us. We've spent so long on this. Instagram, Shoutout London. Facebook, Shoutout LDN. All right, don't worry about us. It's fine, we're just doing a show in here. Twitter, Shoutout LDN. Instagram, Shoutout Stuart. Ben Campbell. You can get
Why are you
Roger.
laughing at that?
It's the woman vacuum cleaning outside that's really showing. Even though we've now got even though we've got a fucking sponsor, we still have the budget of overrunning. Roger.coach on his website. God, it's really throwing me. Roger Frampton Official. That's Frampton. Roger Frampton Official on Facebook, and Roger Frampton on Instagram. I think he's got like 60,000 followers, so maybe more. He's up there with the Wade twins, and he knows them. God, I'm boring myself now. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next week.